Did you know that for Full Metal Jacket, to make sure Gunnery Sergeant Hartman's performance and the recruits' reactions were as convincing as possible, Matthew Modine, Vincent D'Onofrio, and the other actors playing recruits never met R. Lee Ermey prior to filming. Stanley Kubrick also saw to it that Ermey didn't fraternize with the actors between takes. 2. R. Lee Ermey was involved in a Jeep accident during the making of the movie. At 1 a.m. one night, he skidded off the road, breaking all the ribs on his left side. He refused to pass out and kept flashing his car lights until a motorist stopped. In some scenes, you'll notice that he does not move his left arm at all. Stanley Kubrick claimed in an interview that it took 4.5 months before Ermey could return to work, in which production simply had to be suspended since he was involved in all the remaining scenes. 3. During filming, a family of rabbits were accidentally unalived. Stanley Kubrick, an animal lover, was so upset that he canceled the rest of the day's work. 4. Denzel Washington was considered for the role of 8-Ball, but he declined because he couldn't read the script before auditioning. He has since said that it is a role that he regrets missing out on. Did you know that for Jaws, originally, Steven Spielberg was not the director of Jaws? The first director, Dick Richards, was fired after a meeting with producers and studio executives. In the meeting, he said that his opening shot would have the camera come out of the water to show the town, then the whale instead of the shark would come out of the water. The producers said that they were not making Moby Dick, and they would not work with someone who did not know the difference between a whale and a shark. 2. 3 mechanical Bruces were made, each with specialized functions. One shark was open on the right side, one was open on the left side, and the third was fully skinned. Each shark cost approximately $250,000. 4. Director Steven Spielberg named the shark Bruce after his lawyer. 5. Director Steven Spielberg's biggest fear, other than the appearance and performance of the mechanical shark, was that cameras would catch sight of land. The reason Spielberg did not want land to be seen was because he thought the audience could envision the characters having the option of just running back to shore when in danger. He wanted to isolate the audience as much as possible. Did you know that for Into the Wild, on June 19, 2020, the magic bus Chris McCandless lived in for 114 days in the middle of an Alaskan forest has been airlifted out due to public safety concerns? This is because a number of people have tried to hike out to the bus and needed to either be rescued or simply did not survive. 2. The watch Emile Hirsch wears in the movie is Christopher McCandless's real-life watch, given to him as a present. 3. Sean Penn waited 10 years to make the film to make sure he had the approval from the McCandless family. 4. In 2013, Corinne McCandless published her memoirs, The Wild Truth, where she finally revealed her brother's true motivations for running away from it all. She and Chris grew up with a volatile, viciously abusive father who made their weak-willed yet hyper-competent mother both his victim and his accomplice. Corinne, who was a valuable source for both Krakauer's book and Sean Penn's movie adaptation, had shared this dark family history with Krakauer back in the early 1990s, though strictly off the record in order to protect her parents from full exposure in case they could change for the better. Not surprisingly, they didn't. Did you know that for The Day After Tomorrow, 20th Century Fox invited a group of scientists to preview this movie, to test their reactions to the science used in it? None of the scientists were impressed with what they saw, although most conceded that the movie was enjoyable nonsense. The consultation by NASA scientists was requested before the filming of this movie, but NASA stated that the events in this movie were too ridiculous actually to occur, and denied the request. NASA sent a memo out to all of its employees, stating that they were not allowed to comment on the likelihood of the events portrayed, but later rescinded this restriction. 2. On the shot that shows the front of the library, lamps are seen, instead of the iconic lions. According to a New York City Public Library employee, the studio didn't want to pay the fee for filming the statues that are a trademark of the institution, and therefore only took advantage of the public area rights of filming. 3. South Park creators Trey Parker and Matt Stone managed to get their hands on a copy of this movie's script during its pre-production. The two planned to secretly shoot the same movie with puppets instead of actors, word for word, and release it on the same day. The duo abandoned these plans after their lawyer convinced them that such a movie would never get released. Did you know that for A Star Is Born, Bradley Cooper had to fight hard to convince Warner Brothers to cast Lady Gaga as Ally? In his pitch, he showed an iPhone recording of himself and Lady Gaga singing a duet of Creedence Clearwater Revival's Midnight Special, recorded in Lady Gaga's home. 2. The film premiered at the Venice Film Festival on August 31st, 2018, where Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper received an 8-minute standing ovation after the screening. 3. Bradley Cooper was so bowled over by Lady Gaga's rendition of the classic French song La Vie en Rose when he first heard her sing it for a cancer benefit at the home of philanthropist Sean Parker, he insisted on including her performance of the song on the film's soundtrack. 4. Bradley Cooper flew to Lady Gaga to show her the final cut of the film before it was to go to the film festivals. Lady Gaga admitted that from the very first frame of the film, she had burst into tears and cried throughout the entire movie. She had to watch the film several times before she could watch it as an audience member. 5. Lady Gaga has said that she'd become so attached to her character during the shoot, she had to dye her hair blonde as soon as the film wrapped in order to release Ally. Did you know that for Moneyball, all but about 4 of the scouts in the movie were played by actual Major League Baseball scouts? Tom Gamboa is perhaps best known as the Kansas City Royals' first base coach who was attacked on the field by 2 fans during a game against the Chicago White Sox on September 19, 2002. The father and son, highly intoxicated, ran onto the field unprovoked, tackled Gamboa, and threw several punches before being restrained by players and security. Gamboa ultimately suffered permanent hearing loss as a result of the vicious attack. 2. Despite suggestions in the movie that Scott Hatteberg was a bad fielding first baseman, he ended the year with a fielding percentage .994, higher than the league average for his position, .993. 3. The crew had only 1 day to shoot the scenes of Billy Bean's visits to Fenway Park in Boston. It was raining that day, and the gloomy weather was kept in the final product of the film. 4. When Brad Pitt is having a conversation with his ex-wife and her partner, there is a book called By the Sea on the table. By the Sea is a movie starring Brad Pitt and his ex-wife Angelina Jolie. Did you know that for The Devil Wears Prada, on the first day of filming, Meryl Streep told Anne Hathaway, "I think you're perfect for the role. I'm so happy we're going to be working together." Then she paused and followed it up with, "That's the last nice thing I'll say to you." And it was. 2. Despite multiple fashion designer loans, Patricia Field spent more than $1 million on costuming, making it the most expensively costumed film in history. Field received her sole Oscar nomination for her work on this film. 3. Anna Wintour, the editor of Vogue and the inspiration for Miranda Priestly, was not invited to the premiere. She did, however, attend an advanced screening for the press along with her daughter, dressed head to toe in Prada. Wintour's daughter could be heard nudging her through the screening saying, "They got that right." Although never commenting on it publicly, she reportedly really liked the film despite initial skepticism. 4. The only contact production had with Vogue was Jess Gonchor, the production designer, who snuck into their offices to get a look at Anna Wintour's office. He was able to recreate it so authentically that it is said that Anna redecorated hers immediately after the movie came out. Did you know that for her, Amy Adams said director Spike Jonze would essentially lock her and Joaquin Phoenix in a room together for an hour or two every other day and make them talk to each other. Jonze did this so that the actors could get to know each other better. Adams credits this for her and Phoenix's close friendship. 2. Samantha Morton was originally the voice of Samantha. She was present on the set with Joaquin Phoenix every day. After the filming wrapped and Spike Jonze started editing the movie, he felt like something was not right. With Morton's blessing, he decided to recast the role, and Scarlett Johansson was brought and replaced Morton, re-recording all the dialogue. 3. Most of the city backgrounds, especially the ones featuring skyscrapers, are actually filmed in Shanghai. You can see many very identifiable skyscrapers, such as the Shanghai World Financial Center. There are even Chinese signs if you look carefully. 4. During some of the more emotional scenes, Amy Adams would sing songs from famous musicals in order to cheer herself up. Eventually, Joaquin Phoenix would join in, and they would sing together.